Welcome to Absolutely Not for the Meek. Oh, great day to everyone. It is February 17th, 2024. Changing things up today. I hope you like the thumbnail. All right, Richard. I wanted to get into this because pretty much this show was about the dysfunction of black media. Pretty much how they keep us brainwashed and everything. They go along with the propaganda. And I mean, it's all propaganda and anything like that. That's why you have to be smart enough to know what is what. It is all fake. But you gotta know what the hell's going on. Anyway, I'm gonna put up two black media people that are pretty much sworn enemies. Roland Martin and what's his name? Let me pull him up here. Yeah, Jason Whitlock. Now I kind of like Jason Whitlock. I definitely don't have no issues with Jason. I like some of his. I like most of his stuff. Most of the stuff I like. So let's go get into it. I haven't seen it yet, but I know he's gonna be speaking the reality. I know he knows what time it is. So let's see what's going on here.
I told Shamika this morning, I was like, you know what? We're going to mimic Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco and Nightcap, and me and you are just going to go back and forth until we're done playing these Fonnie Willis highlights from her testimony and her corruption trial, whether she's banging the special prosecutor, let's just, before I play any clip, is Fonnie Willis, is she a sugar mama? Is she paying him for sex?
Yes.
It sounds like she is. And Jason, is it Fonnie or Fanny? Because when she walked up to that stand, all I could hear was Ice Cube saying, "Felt on the big fat Fanny." Looked like someone had poured her in her dress, but she was falling out the bottom. I think she's a sugar mama, and with that body, she has to be.
Ooh. All right. You mentioned the dress. Can we start there? There's a big controversy. Did she have the dress on backwards? There are a lot of people contending she had that dress on backwards.
Yeah, that kind of looks like it's on backwards. It does. I mean, maybe it's some type of name brand that I've never seen or heard of, with all the money that she talks about that she has stashed in her house. Maybe, she can afford some things I've never seen before, which is the zipper coming right up to the neck in the front.
Wow.
And the flag upside down. I hate to go here, but listening to this testimony listen, Trump's lawyers are trying to get her disqualified and her entire team disqualified from prosecuting him. And they're saying that.
Yo, I didn't even notice that stuff. Yeah, they on it.
She is funneling money to this Nathan Wade, this special prosecutor that she hired. He's then using that money for them to go on these lavish vacations in Belize. And the Bahamas and any and everywhere they wanted to go. And then they're doing this in cash, as you said. So I want to start there with SOT number 3, where she talks about, carrying cash, keeping up to $15,000 in cash at her home. And, she at one point she said, I think it's good advice for all women to keep and I'm listening to this. Anyway, let's play that clip and then we'll just go from there.
So my question was, where did that cash originally come from if it didn't come out of the bank?
Cash is fungible. We've had cash for years in my house. So for me to tell you the source of when it comes from, when you go to Publix and you buy something, you get $50, you throw it in there. It's been my whole life. When I took out a large amount of money on my first campaign, I kept some of the cash of that. Like, to tell you, I just have cash in my house. I don't have as much today as I would normally have, but I'm building back up now. You just put money in. It's a very good practice. I would advise it to all women.
So you can't identify when you came into this cash or where the cash came from?
I didn't say I couldn't identify it. No, nobody gives me anything. I am sure that the source of the money is always the work, sweat, and tears of me. What you asked me for is, when did the money go in there? What I am trying to tell you is, so I got divorced in 2005 from my husband. No. It's important. You said, where did the money come from? And I need to tell you where the money came from. And so for many, many years, I have kept money in my house. That money in my worst days has probably only been $500 or $1,000. At my best days, I probably had $15,000 in my house at cash. At all times, there's going to be cash in my house or wherever I'm laying my head.
The money that you paid Mr. Wade, the cash, in October of 2022, you do not know where that money came from.
I do know where it came from. It came from my sweat and tears.
Shamika, there's so many layers to this. So many. This is a 50-some-odd-year-old woman, has a high-profile job, a law degree from some university. I may have to hop online to figure out where, why, how, but or wherever I lay my head. That again, is she? This sounds. That's how hoes talk. Just quite frankly, I mean, that's how. Wherever I lay my head, this woman was so ghetto and so arrogant. It blew my mind, and I called you, and I was like, "Are you watching this? This is incredible."
It's the culture.
But just the wherever I lay my head, I just don't hear polished, professional woman talking that way.
Absolutely. And I thought I was listening to something. I thought I was watching a video that had a voiceover. I was like, gosh, they're working really fast to kind of make jokes of this. I did not think, I thought I had clicked on a live link, but I was like, this can't be real because she sounds so unprofessional. And I was thinking to myself,
that is a very good point. Very unprofessional. It was very unprofessional to be like, oh, I was pacing back and forth in my office and everything, listening to this and everything. I heard, which is against the law. It's against the law to do that because this is part of their investigation in her. You're not supposed to be listening. That's why you weren't in the courtroom. But she just barges into the courtroom and everything, and she wants to say something. Very unprofessional. I mean, ghetto, the ghettoness that shows. And the sad part is the next day, the father testifies, and he is affiliated with the Black Panther movement. And he was polished. He was respectful. Everything. Do you see the court, how it goes? This is a very disrespectful female, but an upstanding father that is known in the community, that has done right things. Man, the apple has fallen far from the tree.
there are times when I've had large amounts of cash in the house, stashed in the fireplace, sometimes in a safe, and I know exactly where it came from. It came from drug dealers. So for her to say that she has this amount of cash anywhere she lays her head, I don't see how anyone is seeing this woman as credible. She just sounds like she's very unprofessional, so I believe she's doing unprofessional things. Bottom line.
I want to couple it with SOT 13, where again, this is like she talks like a drug dealer, not a district attorney, not a college educated professional high class person. Let's play SOT 13.
And then he tells me how much it is, and I give him the money back. I don't, just like you're asking me about the money with Robin, I don't do my friends like that. So if you tell me it's a G, then you're going to get $1,000. Whatever it is, I didn't ever make him produce receipts to me. Whatever he told me it was, I gave him his money back.
If you tell me it's a G, I get what are we watching? This is I can't believe this is embarrassing.
I won't even talk to my friends that way. If I'm talking to someone, I want them to see that I know what I'm talking about, that I'm smart. Sometimes people will say slang to me, and I may know exactly what they're saying, but I want to get them in a habit of speaking like they have some sense. So I'll say, what does that mean? What is a G? I know what it is, but she's sitting on a stand. Your whole career could go up in flames from this decision, and she's not taking it seriously. There were times she was slouched in her seat. I mean, she should have just thrown up gang signs because she was just, oh my goodness, why would you say this on a stand? And it does go to the delusion that people talk about when it comes to Black women. We can do no wrong. There's no accountability, but we knew she lacked accountability when she got up there for MLK in that church and said, that long speech. But it's amazing that someone on this professional level, still can't get out the ghetto.
So, Shamika, obviously you're a woman. You've raised 3 daughters. Part of that original clip was her advising women. I think all women should keep cash in their home, thousands of dollars of cash in their home. And so Fannie Willis is presenting herself like she's got street smarts and that she's from the streets. What woman with street smarts would advise?
I would think if you're going to keep something of valuable in your home, it will be precious metals, not cash. That's one thing. You would have a safe and be holding your own mint, your gold and silver coins and other tangible hard assets, not cash money. Who gives a damn about cash? Let me tell you something, how stupid that is to be holding cash money. Cash money is fiat. Cash money has no real value. And you're much better off when you buy things, you use a credit card. Like, I have a American Express Blue, which I get cash back. Costco card, I get cash back. Which this gives you savings. You're saving money, getting money back for your purchases and everything. You always should be using credit cards that give you cash back. And you're building up your credit so you can borrow more money. You take that fiat and you put that into your own bank. And I'm not talking about Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. I'm talking about your policy. If that goes over your head, I mean, you maybe need to follow, like, and subscribe, and listen to more. Be your own bank. Okay? Maybe you need some consultation if you don't know what I'm talking about. Look in the bio and holler at your boy, and I can show you how to be your own bank. Let's continue.
Other young women, yeah, keep a lot of money around your house. Let the predators, give the predators a big target. Put that target on you. Oh yeah, she keeps large sums of cash at her house. I just, is this good advice? Is this what you're telling your daughters?
No, absolutely not. Now, I do tell them if they're going on a date or even if they're going on a trip with friends, it's good to have some cash because you never know what may happen with your check card or whatever. You don't know if you're going to go on this date and the guy may flake. You want to have some cash in the event of an emergency. But I would never tell them to have $15,000 laid around the house, nor would I announce that to the whole nation? Like you're on this stand telling the whole nation that wherever you lay your head, it's possible for you to have $15,000.
The reason why she's doing that because she's avoiding being tracked on her transactions. She's also avoiding taxes. She's trying to conceal what you're having an affair with her married man. That's what she's doing. She's there's also a thing with her where her campaign, she's been doing wire fraud and identity theft of the elderly for these campaign contributions. I did that in another video. We're talking about a cluster fuck here. That if she isn't off this case, if she isn't going to jail, if the FBI and the Internal Revenue Service isn't looking at her, there's something wrong.
With you, on you, because here you were having an affair with the married man. Did you have 15,000 in the hotels as you were going along? This is silly to me. So I do think it's wise to have cash on hand, but not that much. That's prostitute behavior, drug dealing behavior. I told you, I've had that amount of cash in my house. I know exactly where it came from, though.
Look, yes, and anytime I've had large sums of cash on me, I was headed somewhere to do something, up to no good. Oh, yeah, let me take $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 into this strip club. Let me carry this big bag of money I just won gambling back to my hotel or to my house. But this is just bad advice in terms of like, if you have $15,000 or $150,000 or $1.5 million, you don't leave it just laying around collecting dust. You put it somewhere where it can collect interest and where it can work for you.
Exactly.
Right.
Period. End of story. And I know there are questions about bank security at this point, and are these banks going to collapse and all this other stuff? But there are places for you to put money in the market anywhere that it can draw interest. I'd rather hear about you buying gold than just having that money sitting around your house collecting dust. And
now, mind you, I'm watching this for the first time with you, and they know what I'm talking about. You be your own bank, and your account will be growing interest on that fiat. It will just keep on growing. Damn, I'm glad this is. See, I like Jason Whitlock. I like him. I don't like everything about him, but I like him.
Tempting you in to doing shady things. This woman sounded so corrupt and so shady. She had tax liens for $3,000 and $4,000, but is on the stand talking about it's not uncommon for me to have from $500 to $15,000 in cash. I've taken money from my campaign in cash and brought it
Yes.
home. That sounds
Yeah.
very illegal, very corrupt, very entitled. Just I and I can't believe, and this is where this worship of the Black woman has led them to a level of foolishness, because I can't believe advisors didn't say, Fannie, what are you doing here? Don't take the stand. Don't take the stand in an obvious, rushed, emotional, you're taking this personal. She was not a lawyer at all yesterday. This was an enraged Black woman. How dare this white woman Trump lawyer and any of these other white people?
Yeah. And just like Judge Joe Brown said, yo, you don't know that you could have just taken the fifth? She could have taken the fifth and everything and avoided all that. She divulged her whole scam. And that's why the judge was like, yo, that's enough on that questioning and like that, because he already got the information he needed. He already got that. He's like, yo, she already perjured herself. She already admitted to all these different things and everything like that, these illegal activities. So he was good on it. He said, like, go on and everything and get some more stuff on her. That's what he did. And mind you, she's his court officer. He could go ahead and get rid of her. He could be like, "No, what? I'm not gonna deal with you. With your that you too corrupt." And she pretty much showed that she was ghetto and trifling. So she's done.
People question me at all. And so let's play the "I'm not on trial" clip. It's SOT number 2. Yesterday you were on trial. You know, your credibility was on trial, but she's totally divorced from that reality. Let's play the clip.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
Well, no, look. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
So
right now, she's on trial. The judge is going to make a decision about whether she's qualified or disqualified from prosecuting this case. We've built a fantasy world for women, Black women in particular, and they live in that fantasy.
Absolutely. And people praise them on it. I saw the Shade Room post this exact same clip, and Tyrese Gibson, who, you know, was one of the first people saying she said what she said. And the people in the comments like, yes, queen. And that's right. And I'm thinking, but she is on trial. They're trying to make sure she's the right person to actually, you know, what her character is. Don't you all understand? If she's a liar here, she could be a liar in other areas. I don't understand what people don't get. And it's funny because we have this thing that the loudest, the, you know, snappiest neck, the eyes that back the most means you're actually telling the truth. And as they said in the comments, standing on business. That does not mean she's standing on business. She's looking like an angry, bitter Black woman, like you said, taking it personal. If you have nothing to hide, why are you so defensive? It goes even back to the money. Like, if you have nothing to hide, why wouldn't you put that money in the bank? At the very least, in a safe deposit box. She's doing something that she has no business doing. And you would think because of some of these other trials that, you know, big name cases that she's been over, people would want her to be credible. They don't. They hate Trump so much. The Trump derangement syndrome is so great that they don't care. They don't even want to look at the truth. The truth is this woman is not credible.
I agree 100%. You know, she said election tampering. Bull. Which the other side has stolen the election. I mean, the ballots were stuffed, all these different things. I mean, and it's in other states, they're like, yeah, there's been election fraud. I mean, it's all over the place, but they just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. This is the world we live in here. This is the buffoonery that we have to deal with. This NPCs, it's like no getting around them. They're like everywhere. And the funny thing is, Fanny's daddy is a conservative. Do you think that maybe she has disdain for her own father? That she can't even see, she's looking at him like, Dad, you don't know what you talked about. You old and everything like that. This is a very wise man, which has studied at Harvard. I mean, damn. And which he's very well accomplished. And look at what she's going through. You see the mind screw here?
I'm not sure if this is Trump derangement. I'm really not. I think this is Black idolatry. This is, I'm going to defend anything Black, no matter how ignorant, no matter how debaucherous, no matter how bad it looks. I'm going to pretend that it's great and that you're the crazy person for expecting her to act in a proper, respectful way. That's the white way of doing things. The
True.
Black way, which is the right
I
way,
agree.
is to have as much attitude and show as much disrespect and contempt for your colleagues and peers. Don't even put on any facade that you have any respect for them. I was going to wait and unpack more of this, but I want to show you this clip of Joy Reid and the gang over at MSNBC saying that what a great representation of Black womanhood that this was and is. Let's play clip 15, SOT 15. This just blew my mind.
Was if standing on business was a witness. That was what we saw today. And what we also saw today, frankly, was a clinic in Black womanhood, and particularly high-profile Black womanhood, right? If you're a Black woman in this country, you don't have to be a district attorney prosecuting the former president of the United States to really understand what it means to have your integrity or your professionalism questioned, or the urge to defend your character or reputation, right? And so that's what you really saw on display today. Yes, she was angry, but she was also insulted. She was offended. If somebody thinks that they're being lied on, and especially Fonnie Willis, prepare to defend yourself, because that was exactly what she came to that stand prepared to do today of her own free will.
Well, and the thing is, Katie, you as a woman of color who have to stand in a courtroom, you know this all too well. Look, I have a book about this, about the way they did this with Merle Evers Williams. Be pretty, but not too pretty. Be, forceful, but not too forceful. Don't be loud. Don't be angry. Excuse me, if you're questioning my integrity and accusing me of hiring somebody that I was having an affair with, when I'm telling you the timeline and then asking, did my kids live at my house? You want to know how much money I have? Is he giving me cash? She was insulted, and rightfully so. This idea that women of color have to sit there and be demure and take it. There were people on social media who were saying, oh, she's coming in too hot. No, she wasn't. She was offended, and she had a right to be offended.
They got the Asian chick in on it too. My advice to you, they got the Asian chick up there bobbing her head like, oh, yeah, Black woman, yeah.
What's crazy, and this is why I don't call it Trump derangement, it's just idolatry, and it's just insanity, is because Joy Reid, if that were Donald Trump defending himself, acting offended at the lies he believes that are being told on him, he would be completely out of line. He would be completely unjustified. He would be undignified. It's behavior beneath the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
This woman, because she's Black and has a vagina, she can respond however she wants, as angry as she wants to be, as emotional as she wants to be, as disrespectfully as she wants to be, and that's great. And anybody that has a problem with it it's because you're racist. I'm
Jason, you have
I watched this. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you're right. You have a great point, because part of why we're here, even going through this, I heard her, Fanny, say, these people tried to steal the election. Part of why we're even here is because they did not like Trump's behavior in response to an election that he thought was unfair,
Exactly.
an election that many of us thought was unfair, and that something had been done that was not, quite right and above board. So you're right. They actually would have something to say if he was, being snappy, or when he's actually stood strong and said how he really felt. So it has to be more of just the Black woman thing. And were you distracted by Joy's hair at all?
Oh, of
Because
course I was. Of course.
that's crazy. And she talked about, be pretty but not too pretty. I don't think that's her story. I don't think she's ever had to worry about that. But I just think it's silly the way she continues to talk about Black when she doesn't even seem to really embrace Blackness. To me, you're not embracing your Blackness sitting on national television with a blonde wig. These women are delusional, Jason. There is no other word to say it. And you heard the lady say standing on business. You can stand on business with facts. You can stand on business and be passionate but not rude. Be straightforward but not condescending. You don't have to be ghetto all the time. Now, if you're sitting with your girlfriends and you just want to relax and y'all are chilling at the bar, be who you are, relax. But you're in a professional setting and people are watching you. All of these little girls that you claim should be able to look up to see a Black woman shouldn't have to look to see an angry one, to see a disrespectful one, to see one who has gone to college and still can't express herself on a higher level. These little girls shouldn't see that. And so it's poor representation. And I get sick of them feeling like they can just present whatever to the world and we have nothing to say. We just have to accept it because this is what, Black women are. No, we aren't always like that. And you can actually present yourself in a better way and still get respect.
Hallelujah.
I take the woman that said standing on business. That was the first thing. That's like, well, hold on, you on MSNBC talking politics. You're not on BET talking with rappers and just, standing on. Who are you trying to communicate to? Because once you're standing on business, there are people that are unaware of that slang and that's the new thing to say. And so the audience that you're speaking to on MSNBC, you're talking a language they don't even understand, but you think it's cool, you think it's hip, and it speaks to, because when I was watching Fonnie yesterday, the number one thing I was like, she's not talking to lawyers, she's not talking to professional people, she's not talking to politicians. She's sitting there like, I'm at the beauty shop and I'm talking to my girlfriends and I'm trying to win the debate with them. I'm not trying to win in the court of law. I'm not. And so there's like, they've turned, everything's a stage. MSNBC, that's a stage to talk to the barbershop or the beauty shop or to put on some kind of halfway dressed up minstrel show. Because again, that's what I'm telling you, when I look at that, when I see Joy with that little fake blonde wig that's too small for her head and just looks ridiculous, I'm like, this is a minstrel show. And she's got all this makeup caked on with the blonde wig. Put her back on screen, please. Because I'm just telling you, look, I'm just telling all of that makeup with this blonde wig and red lipstick, that looks like blackface. That looks like a minstrel get up and outfit. Then again, none of these women, but Joy and standing on businesswoman, this don't be too pretty. no one's ever told either one of these women to tamp down the pretty.
Right.
That's never. It's almost like, hey, Jason, you're too skinny. Nah, ain't nobody ever told me that. So cut it out. But I don't want to just take personal shots. But I'm offended. I'm offended that we're representing ourselves this way, and that people are defending it, and it makes me feel like I'm from outer space. And that the people that I knew growing up and what we were trying to accomplish and what we were about growing up, being better, representing ourselves in a way that brought honor and dignity to our name, our family, and other Black people, all of that's out the window now. And it's like, let me show you how ghetto I can be. And if you question my ghetto-ness, you're a racist or a coon.
Yep.
I'm trying to, are there more of us or more of them at this point? And it's an inappropriate or politically incorrect question, but I gotta ask it because that's what I sit here and wonder.
I think it's more of them.
We should be outraged by what Fonnie did and these people that came on TV and defended it.
95% of the population is mentally ill. But the 95% are NPCs. I'm telling you, if you agree with what I'm saying, then you know you're not an NPC. You have a soul. These people are completely zombies, NPCs, non-playable characters. Just running around, spewing the narrative and everything like that, and going and leading the world into oblivion.
It outrages me, but I'm sorry. Am I in the minority?
You know, I'm starting to feel like we are in the minority because when you look at Kamala, how she tries to blend in and act Black. It's almost like, you can't be in a high profile position and have class. You know, I don't even think she was just talking, like she was in the beauty shop. I think she was talking that way so that the masses of Black people could gather and like her and be on her side. And in the, eyes of public opinion, she's right, or she's great, or she's representing Black women. And it's almost like once, to be on that side, that's how you have to carry yourself. If you're on the right side and you're trying to present yourself in a way that your family raised you, as you said, you're automatically a coon. You're automatically an Uncle Tom. When we look at people like Ben Carson and call that man an Uncle Tom, after everything that he's done and the accomplishments that he made, we look down on him. Black people look down on him and Thomas Sowell, but yet they will esteem somebody like P. Diddy or, Ice-T, somebody that's, not representing Black people in the best light. That's Black. That's the Black excellence. That's the Black girl magic, we would say for Fonnie Willis. We wouldn't say that though.
That's brainwash. That's the brainwash. Right, so they introduce the sin. You rather do bad than good. It's harder to do good. So you rather go along with sin, deviant behavior. That's the reality. And just the simple fact that they call themselves Black is what's showing that they don't even know who the hell they are. And they rather act like a creation of the United States corporation.
About any Condoleezza Rice. She wouldn't get Black girl magic. So we have our priorities mixed up. And when you talk about how we were raised, I look back at old pictures of my grandmother or my great grandmother, and I look at the way these women were dressed, the way even my grandfather and great grandfather used to dress. They always presented themselves the best. and wanted to be seen in the best light. And it wasn't about being, or acting white. This was Black excellence. And even with a little amount of money, with a limited education, that was Black excellence. And they always walked around like they were proud. I know you don't like that word, but people, and not because of their skin color, but because of who they were on the inside. And now we've thrown all of that out the window. Your character doesn't matter. Integrity doesn't matter. Your skin color and forming this allegiance with the Black community on a whole and acting like an ass, that's what matters now. And when you hear Joy Reid talk, when you hear Fonnie Willis talk, this is what it seems that we hold important. Skin color and being ignorant. That's what we like. That's what we allow. Those are the people that we esteem, and we won't check them. But we'll talk about Ben Carson. We'll talk about Clarence Thomas and put them down. People will drag Candace Owens and put her down and say she don't like Black people. But tell me, why do we equate asking more from Black people and saying, Black people, you can do whatever you put your mind to. You can have the highest grades. You can get the best job. Why is that equated to not liking Black people, but then thinking that a Black person should be ghetto or, getting shot every 2 minutes? That's Black. That's somebody that actually loves their people, but the other person does not.
Shameek, let me pause here for a second, take care of a little business, take care of another one of our great sponsors. And
I'm going to take care of my sponsor too.
And then I'm going to circle.
I'm going to talk about my sponsor too. Okay.
Did you watch the Satan worshiping show? Yeah, I watched the Super Bowl. But what was your favorite part of the show? Well, there were many great allegiances to Satan made, but I think my favorite one was when Taylor Swift's friend did the devil worshipping hand gestures while wearing an upside down cross. That was both very powerful and obvious. But could you tell if that was a man or a woman? I think those are the only two genders that the devil doesn't like, so I think it was probably something else. Another one I really liked was the Black National Anthem. I suspect that really moved the needle in creating unity. For sure, nothing creates unity and ends racism like segregation. Yeah, things just feel different now. Do you know who created the Black National Anthem? I don't know their name, but I'm pretty sure it was white people. That's fitting. And do you know who decided to have it sang at the Super Bowl? I'm pretty sure also white people. Nothing genuinely honors Black people more than white people deciding how and when they want to be honored. Oh, and did you see Mr. Pfizer pushing his coach and yelling at him? He is a good person that always makes good choices. Therefore, I will do what he tells me to do when he's paid $20 million to tell me to do it. So, do you know what's going to happen next in the Taylor Swift-Travis Kelce psyop? Now that the Chiefs have won the rigged Super Bowl and an association of supporting Biden has been crystallized into the consciousness of everyone who watched the game, via the overtime win, which causes us to associate the hero archetype with Biden because of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's support for him, while also hypnotically associating their pretend love for each other with love for Biden. I think what's next in the psyop is for people like you and me to believe that we actually believe Biden's a hero and that we should love him and therefore vote for him. But I think the Swift-Kelce Super Bowl psyop will be enough to override it. What's the hiccup? Well, it's not a big deal. What is it? Well, do you know what the special prosecutor reported about Biden and his investigation to the classified files crimes? What did Trump do now? No, I'm talking about Biden. Biden didn't commit any crimes. A force that controls me compels me to know that only Trump commits crimes. I know, so this is probably just fake news. But a special prosecutor made a report about his investigation into Biden willfully retaining classified documents during his time as VP. Okay. The report concluded that Biden broke the law willfully and presented serious risks to national security, and also concluded that he's too senile to be put on the stand for his crimes. But he's still considered so mentally fit that he should be in charge of a country of 350 million people and have the codes to the nuclear bombs, right? Correct. Okay, so after interviewing Biden, the special prosecutor said the president's memory is significantly limited. But he probably has the nuclear codes written down so he doesn't have to remember them. He just has to remember where he put his note with the nuclear codes on it. Right. He probably can't do that. Sure he can. Again, we're probably just missing context. I want more context. Well, the special prosecutor's report went on to say he did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting on the first day of the interview when his term ended. And if it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? And forgetting on the second day of the interview when his term began. Going on to say, in 2009, am I still vice president? And the special prosecutor said he did not remember, even within several years, when his son Beau died. Means nothing. Oh, and last week alone, on 3 different occasions, Biden publicly said that he had recently spoken to leaders who have been dead for many years. Do you think he remembers saying those things? Probably not. Huh. It kind of makes it hard to stay loyal to him, doesn't it? Well, not when you're reminded of how loyal you are to him by things like this. Good point. So, in conclusion, it was a great Super Bowl.
And my sponsor is me. Yes. Absolute Entertainment. Whatever you want to call it. Okay, well, I would like for you all to all right, like, subscribe. Go to all the media that you see in the bio and like and subscribe and share it with your people. Share common sense. All right, now we're going to go to these buffoons. I'm going to play the beginning first. And then, if you bear with me, I'm going to have to go and fast forward to the reality.
Was an explosive day in a Georgia courtroom during the disqualification hearing to remove the Fulton County District Attorney from the election interference case.
Now, this is a doctor. Boy, I tell you, boy, I don't trust no doctors, boy. They be some of the dumbest people I've ever seen in my life. And we already saw the buffoonery.
Fonnie Willis took the stand for a face-off with the
She
attorneys of
stomped into
Donald
the
Trump's
courtroom.
co-defendants indicted on charges of trying to subvert Georgia's 2020 presidential election. Willis was on the stand for hours, answering questions.
Now, he's pretty much pro this Fonnie Willis, right? Let's see if we can get to the... Oh, here we go. We're about to get into the nooks and crannies of this here.
They're in close proximity. The contract had already been offered. He was doing the job, and that for...
Hold on. Okay.
The hearing will continue at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday. We've assembled a legal panel here today to discuss today's proceedings. Joining us
legal panel
here in the studio is Pamela Keith, the CEO at the Center for Employment Justice Law Firm, and Monique Presley, legal analyst and host of Make It Make Sense with Monique Presley. They join us from Washington, D.C., regulars here at the Roland Martin Unfiltered broadcast. And we're also joined by criminal justice journalist Josie Duffy Rice. She's out of Atlanta. Thanks for being here.
Intelligent.
Well,
She's somewhat attractive
where do
as
we
well.
start? Perhaps Attorney Keith, who is over here in D.C. Let's talk. Walk us through what we saw.
I think the first thing we need to talk about is what were they getting at? What are they trying to establish with this line of questioning? And what they were trying to establish is that there was a romantic relationship between Fonnie and Nathan Wade before they before he got the contract to be the prosecutor in this case, which would suggest that she gave the job to him because of that interpersonal relationship. I think they tried hard to get there, but all they got was friendly, knew each other, mentor, we were friendly, not a physical relationship. Her testimony, I think.
What the hell is she talking about? What, you think that they didn't get what they wanted? They got what they wanted and a whole lot more.
Clearly establishes that their physical relationship didn't really take off until they were working together in close proximity. The contract had already been offered. He was doing the job, and that friendship morphed into something more, and at which point they had a physical relationship. She admitted that they did, and I think that there's some people whose eyes kind of popped open at that.
Really?
Yeah, because it's.
I mean, they were going to find that out anyway. And Wade himself said it wasn't nothing about it. He and his wife, it was irreconcilable. What do you say? Marriage was broken as of what? 2016?
Yeah, I don't think the state of his marriage is relevant.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
Interesting. Okay.
It's not relevant to the question. Right. It may make him look a little shady to people, having an extramarital affair. But his testimony was that the marriage was for convenience at that stage for the benefit of their children, and that they were really living separate lives in a single home, and that they had been. Emotionally divorced, if not on paper, for many, many years. And again, that's one of those things that may look bad to the Christian viewer, but is not relevant in the law.
Especially the Christian hypocrite.
Christian as in non-Satan worshiper. They worshiping Satan right in front of your face.
Right. I mean, who cares what Donald Trump says on Truth Social? So just one thing. So the thing they were after, they weren't.
Boy, they can't stand Trump. Let me tell you something. Me and Trump was born on the same birthday, Flag Day. I act just like him. So they got a problem with me too. I go places like that, I talk at this, some people are, what the hell are you talking about? Oh, wow, okay. I know I got to leave that room.
Able to prove today?
Not in the testimony that I heard. There was no evidence that they were in a sexual relationship or they were sleeping together at the time that Fani offered him the contract to be the prosecutor on this case. Right? He was somebody she knew who had been a speaker at a conference that she attended. She was impressed with his background and his experience. And when it came to picking somebody to prosecute this, she probably decided she wanted somebody she trusted, somebody she thought had the chops, had the experience, and this guy was close enough to her for her to have observed enough about him to decide, I think this guy's a good guy to be the prosecutor on this. Their intimate relationship did not begin until after that contract was given.
Okay.
So I think that's what they were going for. They were also kind of looking for instances where she financially benefited from him being the prosecutor. Right. So they kept digging into, well, did you give him money? Did he give you money? Right. How much money did you give him? When you traveled together, did you pay? Did he pay? And what she established through her testimony, as far as I could tell, was that every time they traveled, she paid her portion, he paid his portion, and it could have been that he bought it initially, she paid him back, or she bought it initially, and she paid him back. The only exception to that was the trip to Belize, where she paid for everything as a gift to him from her own money. Yeah. And again, that was the birthday trip. That was the birthday trip. That doesn't, at least in my mind, create a conflict of interest. Okay. Because a conflict of interest is when the work of the people is interfered with by the relationship, and I don't think they got there. However, that's not to say that the optics are less than fabulous.
The people of Georgia are not pleased. So obviously, the work of the people is not being done. They don't want this.
Fabulous. And the politics of it are very less than fabulous, because what it takes to create a conflict in a court of law is maybe different than what the Georgia legislature is looking for in terms of impropriety and use of the office. I don't think they got enough. What I saw didn't establish abuse of the office. It didn't establish wasteful contracts or something that you would be. And I feel like I have to say, the people that are bringing this are the very same people who think that Clarence Thomas taken all kinds of benefits from people who have cases before him were perfectly okay. And same with Alito, thought that.
I don't think that. I think Clarence Thomas is a corrupt coon, that he should have never been put as a Supreme Court judge. They need to get rid of him.
That's perfectly okay, and they're Supreme Court justices. So we gotta just own the fact that the hypocrisy here is pretty blatant.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hypocrisy is their brand at this point. I mean, let's bring in Monique. Monique, you're looking at this. You watched this, and we've seen Fani Willis all along. What are your initial thoughts on what happened in that courtroom today? Any thoughts in particular on how Fani Willis handled herself on the stand?
Well, first of all, hey, Bison, hey.
Yes, indeed. HU, That's right. We got to back up Fani on that as well. No question. Hustle, no question. Every day I'm hustling. If you know what we talking about right now.
Hey, Bison.
No question.
She had me already, but when she said her former friend Robin did not go to Howard, I was done. That said everything I needed. Listen, Dr. Greg.
Yes,
I can't say this isn't personally triggering for me. As a woman, as a black woman, as a black woman lawyer, who has been in high-profile cases, as a black woman lawyer who's been in high-profile cases and been attacked.
Lord have mercy. Please. Yo, she just annoying and feminist is all hell and ignorant. Oh.
Attacked by the opposing side based on issues that had nothing to do with the facts of the case, with nothing to do with the evidence, nothing to do with me doing my job, but my past, my man, my whatever.
Right.
This is a narcissist. This is a narcissist, straight up.
This is the playbook, right? And so on the one hand, I was incensed, I was enraged, but on the other hand, I was very thankful and very proud.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
I believe that Special Prosecutor Wade was a quintessential perfect witness. I couldn't have coached, trained, prepared a cooler witness under hotter fire. Here is a man who self-professes and who all the investigators who have been trying to find dirt on him profess is a very private person.
Who does massive pauses like, you're like 66, a whole minute and a half or whatever, but you're trying to think if you ever been alone with her in a cabin. Man.
For years and years and years and years, such that we heard things from the witness stand we've never heard before because the investigators couldn't find it, right? But here's a black man under attack.
Yes.
Who has to talk about his career and being targeted there, has to talk about his money, how much he made, how much he didn't make, has to talk about his ex-wife, has to talk about his kids, has to talk about his cancer diagnosis, has to talk about the new woman in his life who's now the other former woman in his life. All these things, black men don't like none of that.
No question.
He does grace. He does it smiling sometimes. I was talking back and forth with other lawyers who were like, we could have done without that smile. I'm like,
but which Fanny wasn't graceful, and she is of a higher authority and a black woman, right?
Listen, he's doing the best he can, and he kept calm, cool as a cucumber, deliberate, answered every question. I thought he came out smashingly, so much so that before he got on the stand, the motion should have been granted for him to not get on the stand. After he left the stand, the state.
You know what it seems to me? It's almost like she's referring to him as a man-child. That which is like, considering that he is male, he did very well. I mean, showing like he is definitely beneath the black woman, the black professional woman.
Motion should have been granted for DA Fonnie Willis to not come on the stand, but she interrupted her side winning in order to testify. And I was going back and forth with my law school coach and mentor, Dr. Sharon Anderson. I was going back and forth with Charles Coleman. I was going back and forth with all these people, and I could have just fell out and died. She's the worst client ever, right? Because you're winning.
Counselor, please walk us through that if you don't mind, Monique. What was the strategy? Why did she do that?
Listen, and it's all the reasons I just said, right? Because even though I believe, would have won that argument and the judge was on her side, she knew, like I know, like all these other women who were on this panel, love y'all sisters, hello sisters, like we all know, it's not finished. It would never be finished without her testifying. It would never be settled. It would be that she won on a technicality. It would be that there wasn't enough evidence. It would be that she hid behind her lawyers. It would be all the crap that we go through even when we're right. And so she came in and she said, I'm your Huckleberry. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm laid. My edge is laid. For everybody talking about how she looked. Yep, she was real cute, but Trump's lawyer was not cute, as she pointed out. And she said, let's do this. And when she went on the stand, we were worried because she came in hot. She was obviously upset. But see, Dr. Greg, we don't give people other than white men the permission to be upset in business. The permission when they're called liars, when they're called whores, when they're accused of, as she was in this particular hearing, giving a man a re-up on a contract because he took her on a cruise and a trip to Aruba.
Lord have mercy.
That's what we do. We put our entire careers on the line.
Absolutely.
To give a man another chance when his name isn't even husband because he took us on a cruise with his mama. No, I don't think so. Let me help everybody who doesn't understand how hard it is for a black woman to get in that job or any job of high acclaim. We know what it took for us to get there. We don't risk that for mom and them, daddy and them, brother and them, bae and them, not even husband and them. That man was given that job. He was selected by her because he was qualified. He was selected because she could trust him. He was selected because he could.
Look at the light skin. She's like, what? He never prosecuted a RICO case. Never. I mean, this guy's like wet behind the ears like no other. Plenty of other attorneys that were capable. This guy got paid more than all the other attorneys combined on this case. I mean, this is delusion. Black girl delusion. This female is the gatekeeper, the feminist watchdog. And you'll see when she goes after this light-skinned cute chick over here that has more common sense.
Do the job. And he proved on the stand that he could do the job. I would hire him. And I don't say that about, let me tell you, I don't say that about hardly nobody. In this legal profession, he could be my lawyer. But I say all that to say, even though it was my worst nightmare, her being on the stand, thinking about it as a lawyer who would put a client on the stand, she did for herself what nobody could do for her. She didn't have to look at notes. She wasn't looking up in the corner. She wasn't saying, I don't recall.
No.
She wasn't saying, I need to pause and think about it. The only breaks that were asked for were by the judge, by the other lawyers. They were objecting, the opposing side, to the testimony that they begged for her to give.
How about
she
that?
came ready and she proved her case. And I think she did a service to her profession, to womanhood, and to democracy. Because, by the way, she's in this position because she's trying to put a criminal
Yes.
in prison and his cohorts for committing crimes against democracy and trying to steal an election.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry if I ran long, but
that's
This is why we won't get anywhere. We're doomed. We are doomed.
actually a perfect framing, and that's exactly right. We got to keep our eye on the ball here as to what's really at stake. And thank you, Monique, for doing that, because that allows us to ask Josie a few questions. Josie Duffy Rice, I remember landing in Atlanta the day this story broke on the front page of Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and in the weeks since, it's only gotten hotter and hotter. And to kind of follow along what Monique has laid out for us here, you know, what is the climate in Georgia, particularly when we're talking about the larger politics of this, which is, of course, you have this sister, you have her office, attempting to track down and convict a criminal for trying to steal an election. I mean, but what's your sense there on the ground in Georgia as to how today played out, and put it in the larger context of what's going on around this case?
Can you guys hear me?
Now we can.
Yes. So I think in Georgia, like many people across the country, especially here in Atlanta, there has been a lot of reliance on DA Willis to kind of pull through on this case. There's a lot of frustration and disappointment, I think, that this has become sort of the center of the story. And I think a lot of confusion, to be honest, about what would drive her to make some of the decisions she's made. I think, you know, for me, I would have to disagree. I don't think that they are in the right here. They may technically be in the right, but this is a massive mistake on both of their parts. I think it was unprofessional. I think it was, I think it put this case at risk and every case that she has at risk in some ways, because you know, DAs operate through legitimacy, and this really has taken away some of her legitimacy. I think it's also worth noting, you know, Fani Willis has become a national figure because of this Donald Trump case, but she's also prosecuted some other big cases. She's prosecuting the YSL case right now here in Atlanta. She's in the past prosecuted the Atlanta teachers in the Atlanta cheating scandal, Atlanta public school cheating scandal, and she has made what I think are some harmful choices in her prosecutions. I'm glad she's prosecuting Trump. I think many of the other cases, you know, many of the other hundreds of thousands of cases her office prosecutes have been mistakes, harmful especially to Black communities. And I found it quite frustrating today to watch her talk about this, because I think it's very possible that they are technically right, that they technically didn't do anything wrong. I don't know the ins and outs of the ethics guidelines here to conclude that conclusively, but I think it's totally right. She didn't have to look at notes. She knew what she was doing, and it seemed like she was making decisions intentionally throughout their relationship, knowing that if this was public, it would look bad, right? She was trying to be thoughtful in that way. But the fact that this is an issue for someone whose entire job is accountability is, I think, a travesty. I think it's a massive failure on her part. I think it is a massive mistake of her and Nathan Wade. And I feel frustrated with the general, you know, defiance of that she took in the hearing. I understand that defiance. I thought she came off actually much better than she ended much better than she started. But I also, you know, when you spend a lot of your time tracking down big wads of cash that you find at people's houses and asking them where it came from, or drawing connections,
I shouldn't laugh. Yeah, absolutely.
you know, or
Yeah.
drawing connections between drawing inferences from people's relationships, which is largely what RICO cases are. It feels a little hypocritical for you to sit there and say that this, you know, this is untouchable.
And boy, that one in the middle, she don't like that. She gonna be like, well, she gonna be defensive, boy. You going against my? She's like, yo, I already set the narrative of what it is. How dare you come up here and change the narrative? What do you think you're doing?
You have a case of the biggest election case in this country. The one that had the most chance of succeeding was this case.
Yeah.
And she put it at risk. And I think that's inexcusable.
Chelsea, you put something, a larger universe in play here. I had momentarily forgot.
Right. Can I ask a question?
Oh, please, go ahead, Monique, please.
Sure. I'm just wondering what law she broke or what ethics
I don't
code
think she broke the law.
She broke many laws there, which are she's lying on the stand. She's evading questions. Her ethics. She's violating her ethics. I mean, she's pretty much doing RICO shit. She's doing RICO shit that they can put a RICO case on her.
What? No. I'm asking, and you can answer in any way because you said you feel like it's a certain way and that you are disgusted by it. And I understand that people don't like RICO prosecutions. I'm one of those people, but I am thankful that it was used in this instance, and I think that that's the here and there of the law. But the reason why I am saying that she is standing in the place of right is because all we have is a book of laws that define the way people are supposed to be treated, and she utilizes them in her job. And they also define what can and cannot be done. And I believe in Georgia, especially, she couldn't have just hired, if she wanted to, her lover. She could have hired her husband. So I'm saying if she picked the best person for the job, where was her lack of judgment? Where was her miscalculation? And how did it put the case at risk? Because let's face it, even if both of them are disqualified, this case is still going forward with 40 other people who were in the office.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good question of whether this case goes forward. I think it depends on how.
I don't know that that's true.
You don't think?
Yeah,
Pam, you might think.
No, if she's disqualified, her office is
disqualified. The question is, will someone else take the case? And the answer is maybe.
If she is disqualified, she will be replaced, and they already have provisions in place for her replacement, and it does not end his indictment nor his co-defendants.
No, agreed.
So what I'm asking, and I'm back.
And by the time they get all of that together, Trump will be president of the United States, and this will not proceed any further. They will get those knocks at the door, like, yo, do you want to be in Guantanamo? Terrorist, terrorists to the United States government. What?
That's my original question. What moral code?
Oh, those two different things, right?
Those are two different things.
There's moral code that was violated.
I'm asking,
moral code or law?
Just name one, other than she should have known better because she's a black woman and she can't get away.
Because she's a black woman? Are you serious?
Falling in love with and dating.
Look at homegirl over here. Look at her. She's looking like, yo, what is up with this chick? This chick is reaching. This chick don't know what the hell you talking about. And she says she's a lawyer. These are the professionals you have to depend on. This is what they are. Oh my God, they're NPCs.
I don't know.
A man who she hires.
We don't want to mix.
Want to know if they were gonna find that she did something wrong. What is the thing that she did wrong? Just I'm open. Tell me.
I think that if you hire the best person for the job,
if you would like to know what she did wrong, what should just listen to Judge Joe Brown. He'll tell you all the things she's done wrong. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. There's going to be people, if they're paying attention, there's going to be federal agencies that's interested in having a conversation with her and about her money, about her campaign financing, all type of things. And mind you, which is she had liens, federal tax liens on her. She probably still does, and she hasn't paid that off and everything. And listen,
You don't sleep with the best person for the job on the job. I think that's a mistake.
So
I think
which
that is an optical mistake. I think it's an ethical mistake. It might not be a legal mistake. You might be right about that.
Well, I mean, let's
hold on one second.
We're gonna take a break.
That you don't sleep with the people who
These
work
are
for you
like,
is
what
a
the
general
hell?
ethical rule.
If you would just name one, I would agree with you.
I just did. I named three.
That sister in the black, she's like, yo, I don't want to be put in with this chick in the middle at all. I don't know. This is a slippery slope.
Like I say, it's two separate things. Actually, it may be three separate things here as well.
That's all I needed. This is the confusion that is rotting your brain. Like I can't even listen to so-called black radio. Ricky Smiley, his whole platform is trash. If you're out there promoting day loans, whatever they're called, same day loans. I don't know. I've never used one, but I have used Rent-A-Center. Not Rent-A-Center. Aaron's, same thing, right? And I had paid my bill, right? Something happened. Oh no, I let somebody else pay the bill. They had the money, they fucked up and didn't pay the bill. Let me tell you something, man. That shit went bananas. That shit went to 100-fold of buffoonery about money that was owed. And I was like, yo, I had to go in there and fix that situation big time. Can I adjust this? I want you to really look at what I did here on this thumbnail. But yeah, I said payday loans, yes. And Ricky Smiley promotes payday loans. And that is so destructive to the community and everything. So I can't, man. It shows you don't give a damn about your people if you're promoting that crap. So anyway, the left is delusional, feminist. Check out the video I did before this one with me critiquing a Gen Z with what's her name? King, Miss King, Melanie King, and boy, she goes in. That's why I like doing stuff with her because you could be watching. She's watching a video and she dissects it and puts more into it that is like phenomenal. So I think it was very valuable, that video, pretty much showing the destruction. And this right here, I'm doing this case and what these people are doing to show you these are the gatekeepers. These are the ones that keep you dumbed down. This is like the boule. The boule that goes ahead, they have all the success and everything, and they know the truth, but they will play a different narrative to destroy the rest of the population. To keep back because they're funded by the people that want to keep you down. Their alma mater is funded by the same people that want to destroy you and make sure you don't come up. To make sure the majority stay ignorant. That is what it's about. This has been the plan all along. This is why the CIA has funded hip hop. It's all promoted, all funded to make you dumb down. Oh boy. All right. Well, that is it. That's all I'm looking to do. I just wanted to put that in there. And I will catch you on the next one. Keep your head on the swivel. Watch your back. You got a whole bunch of illegal immigrants roaming around, popping out babies, robbing, stealing, killing. All that. Don't give a damn. Flag Day. Recognize G. All right, well, I'll see you on the next one. Shalom.
Guess, that's it. Quite a ride, huh?
Oh, well, it was nice while it lasted, right?
It was nice while it lasted.